In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what's going on right now in the local Brantford residential real estate market, and I want to break down exactly what it means to you. I'm going to share with you the real-time statistics up to date for July 2023. We're making this video in August, and I want to break down what's happening for you in the short, medium, and long-term cycles so you know what's going on as a home buyer, seller, or investor. I want to give you the insights so that if you're considering making a move, or you're just curious about how this affects your home value, you move forward with educated information. So let's get to it. This YouTube channel is all about educating you on the local real estate market so you can make a smart decision. Every week, I'm creating new videos from market stats to videos informing buyers, sellers, and investors on the right way to do things to win. And I'm also taking you on some cool home tours. So if that's the type of thing you're interested in, please hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so you get these videos in your newsfeed. And if you are thinking about a purchase or a sale anytime in the near future, the best first step is to reach out to me directly for a no obligation conversation about your situation so we can get you in the right direction. Just send me a DM or follow my contact information below and we can get started. Okay, let's get right into the information. So the market's been pretty volatile over the last 12 months, and I want to bring you up to speed with what's happening right now and also what's transpired so we can predict what's going on in the future. The first most important stat that everyone's interested in is the median sale price. For this report and this video today, I'm narrowing us down to just detached residential homes. And last month, the median sale price, that's the middle point of all sale price of the transactions that happened last month, was $670,000. Now that's down just slightly. We'll call it even from last month where it was $675,000. And a year ago, it came in at $655,000, which is up 3% from this point last year when the market was sliding down. So that's good news for our home owners and our home sellers. This chart shows that change over the last couple of years, and you can see that during the pandemic years, the prices were racing away to a peak in January, February 2022. Then as the market started to cool off, we saw those prices slide back to a low in December 2022 or January 2023. And since then, they've felt some upward pressure from that low point of 585 up to now where we see it sitting at 670. You'll notice every month, just like a stock chart, there's a little bit of variation going up and down, but what I want you to do is see the overall trend of that number and see that from its low point, it is getting back to a stable pace of appreciation. The next most important number for people out there in the market is how long it takes to sell a house. This gives us the pace, how quickly things are moving. And the median time on market was only 15 days. Now, historically, this is a very fast market. Now, if we contrast that to the market we just came out of for a couple of years with the pandemic conditions, it was even faster than this. But if we look at the whole history of real estate, to have the median home sell in just 2 weeks on market is very, very quick. Last month, that number was 13 days, and last year, that number was 16 days. So this is all very comparable. Looking at the chart, you can see that during those fast-moving pandemic years, those numbers got as low as 1 week on market. And then as things were slowing down last year, that number rose up higher and higher throughout the summer and fall months, and it's settled back into where we normally see it with this level of inventory. So still the typical home in the median price range is still moving very quickly. That fresh listing comes on the market, and it usually has multiple viewers, multiple home buyers looking at it and making offers. The other more important information that tells us what's going on between buyers and sellers is what we call the list to sale ratio. And this is the percentage of the asking price that the home actually sold for. And last month that came in at 100%, meaning the median or the average home got full price. So just as many homes were selling over asking as they were under. And when we actually look at the data, we see that most of the homes are clustered around that full price number. Last month it was slightly higher at 100.7. Basically negligible, and last year at this time it was also 100%. Now this is a change if we look back also that during the pandemic years it was very common for homes to be priced intentionally low and then selling ridiculously over asking price. That behavior's kind of calmed down, and what we're seeing now is that it's the sellers who have to make sure that they're adjusting their price, getting it to the right place, and then their home is sold. But if you're a buyer thinking you're going to be out there negotiating, huge discounts off the asking price, we're not really seeing that behavior right now. Mostly we're seeing people negotiate close to, at, or slightly above the asking price. All this information sums up to give us an indication of what's been presently happening, which makes a big difference if you're out there buying or selling a property. What we see is in general that prices are up from their December low, yet not back to that crazy peak we saw in January, February of 2022. But sales are happening very quickly and offers are coming in at asking price typically. So it is a very healthy, moving market for those properties that are priced properly. The other information that we like to look at to get an indication of the direction the market's heading is the balance between supply, demand, and inventory. So the first number we'll look at is the number of new listings on the market. And last month, 186 for sale signs were put into yards. Now, I have to put an asterisk here to say that there is a little thing going on in our marketplace where people are canceling their listing and relisting it, sometimes only after 30 days on market or less. So this number can be a little inflated from the true number. So it's just a little bit of game going on, the way that the sellers and the realtors are representing their listings. The reason they do this is because it resets the days on market to 0 and it kind of repings everyone's automated search accounts. But generally it's not a new listing, it's already been on the market. So that number is a little lower than 186, but it is okay to compare it because this behavior has been going on for the last year consistently. So last month we had 224. So that was a significant decrease, which is normal. We usually see the market known as the spring market peak, in May and June, and then both buyers and sellers take a little break for the summer months here in Canada of July and August. Last year at this time, there were 190 properties on the market, and that's about the same, a slight decrease of 2%. The other way to look at this is the total number of houses that have come up on the market from January till July. And this year it's 1,179. Last year it was 1,455. And now that is a significant change. That means there's almost 20% less new listings coming on the market this year. And there's a lot of factors affecting that. I think the shift in the pricing has definitely affected that. And also the change in the interest rates are causing a lot of people to pause their moving plans because to break a current mortgage that may be locked in at a low rate, only to go buy a different house and have to reapply for a mortgage at a higher rate, is causing a lot of people to just maybe put their home selling plans on pause unless they have a real reason to do so. When we look at the next statistic, it really is the number of homes sold. This is the number of buyers and sellers that agreed, removed their conditions, and put a sold sign on their yard. And last month that number was 85, down 28% from June where it was 119. And again, that's that same summer behavior where we see that peak activity of the spring market coming in May and June, and now we see a pullback. Also, there has been interest rate increases, which have kind of scared some people, made them maybe back off a little bit. We have seen that in the last week, though, as we make this video, that the sales have increased significantly. Last year at this time, in July, there were only 77. So actually the number of homes sold this year is up 10% for July than it was in 2022. Cumulatively, again, we look at this number, there have been 680 homes sold in Brantford up until this point this year, and last year that number was 830, and that again is showing an 18% decrease. And if we remember, we look on the new listing side of things, that's about equal to what we saw. So it's not like there's a big change in the balance of supply and demand, it's that both of those numbers are a lot slower this year than last year. On this chart, I compare the listing pace along with the sale pace. You can see the number of new listings in red and the number of sales in blue. And the reason I do this is because it can give you a nice visual representation of what's going on. You can see when the red and blue numbers run really close together, that's when we have a very hot, fast-moving market. And if they're on the rare occasion where the blue line goes slightly above the red line, things are getting really heated. And we saw that happen over the pandemic years. If you look ahead into 2022, you can see how that gap opens up where a lot more properties were put up on the market in the spring, but the spring sellers just never really showed up in 2022. This year, the red and blue lines have been tracking closer together, and you can see that they've both kind of turned the corner for the summer months there in July, but they are moving parallel. So that means that the supply and demand balance is staying even. The last number we look at here is the inventory level, and that is the total number of homes for sale at any given time. And last month, that number came in at 251 active listings on the market. And this is the highest number we've seen in a couple of years. We do usually expect inventory to peak in July if we look historically. Last month it was up to 218, so we have seen inventory grow by 15%. And last year at this time it was at 228, so it's up even a little bit from last year. So this can be good news if you're a home buyer, gives you a little more choice on the market. But what we'll see in a few slides is what we have is a separation of the market where we have this, new, fresh, fast-moving market. Well, we have a pool of listings that are kind of sitting there, stale, not really getting a lot of interest. So this number of 225 is quite a lot of choice for the home buyers than we've been used to seeing in the last couple of years. Here's that information on a chart, and as you can see here on the side of the chart, we are hitting that peak number. In the pandemic years, we were sitting around 117, maybe even 97 listings on the market in a July, down to a low point of 40, even only 20 homes on the market in December 2021. Obviously, that number rose rapidly through the 2022 slowdown, peaking at 228 before its normal seasonality kicked back in. So it'll be interesting to see where this number goes for the rest of the year. I wanted to zoom out here and give you a 10-year chart just to show you the little difference that's been going on in Brantford. If you look back here to 2013, really in 2013, Brantford was its own little sleepy community. We didn't really think of ourselves as being part of the greater Golden Horseshoe. But you could see that slowly Brantford was getting more interest and the homes were being bought up. There was definitely more demand than supply, and the inventory was shrinking well down into that 2017 market. If you're around then, you'll remember that was the last time we felt the market really full of energy and the inventory was really low. Well, once that slowed down, we had 3 stable years of 2018, 2019, and the start of 2020 before the pandemic hit and kind of changed all the rules. The pandemic caused a lot of people to decide to not sell their homes, to hunker down, right, to work from home, maybe do some renovations instead. But the buying activity, because of the low interest rates, was really at its peak levels. So we saw the inventory slide back down to its lowest levels ever, causing those crazy bidding wars. But now we're seeing the inventory level return back to what was the norm levels of 2017 to 2019. However, these are still historically very low levels for Brantford area. It really tells us that we are now operating more as part of the greater Golden Horseshoe, and we're moving and flowing with that market. When before 2017, I would have considered that we were, kind of an independent little town, different real estate market. Just interesting information to look at. The big takeaways here is that the market has definitely cooled off since the peaking in the spring. May, June was our high point. The market is significantly slower than last year in terms of total transactional volume. However, sellers are typically doing a little bit better this year or on par with where they were last year. Now inventory is hitting its highest level since before the pandemic, and that can be seen as good news. A little more choice for buyers, slightly more competition for sellers, but overall, I think it's a good thing. This is one of the favorite charts I make every week for my own market report to our sales team. And this shows along the bottom the asking price, the selling price of the home. And then along the top, it's how long it took to sell. And what you can see here is that the majority of the sales activity is clustered along the bottom of the chart. And that's telling us that the homes that are selling very quickly. That's where we get that 15 days on market. You can also see that the majority of the activity happening in Brantford is clustered between the $400,000, even more likely the $500,000 to $800,000 price point. And once we move out and get higher into the price brackets for those high-end homes in Brantford, things really change. So there's kind of these distinct markets going on where you've got the very busy, fast market of the $500,000 to $800,000 fresh listings. And then we've got the higher end listings that require a totally different approach, a little bit more patience, and a little bit more marketing. And then you have the listings that maybe didn't get a lot of attention right when they hit the market for whatever reason. Could be their marketing, could be their price. And that they're now, getting a little stale 30, 45 days on market and are going to require a little different approach. Now, I'll also lay in here the active listings. I'll show you this one very quickly, but what I like to do is put these both on the same chart. And so you can see the red and blue over top of each other here, and you can really see the difference that I'm talking about. All these blue dots are available for sale today, and you can see how there's so many more of them that are just clustered, and I almost consider they're like floating up. Every day that goes by, they move a little higher on this chart. And with so few red dots happening in the top part of the chart, you can see that your best chance to get your home sold for the best price is actually to get it done right out of the gate. So that means having a really deep discussion with your real estate agent about properly pricing it, properly staging it, doing all those little repairs, making sure the marketing's all perfect so that when we go to market the first weekend, we have the best chance of getting that best offer. The longer the home's on the market, the more people start to wonder what's wrong with it. And also what you have here is a lot of sellers who aren't reacting. One little thing I want you to see here is that these vertical lines of blue dots show me that there's a lot of people priced at these $9.99s. So we've got a lot of people at $3.99, $4.99, $5.99, $6.99, $7.99, $8.99, and even $9.99. And so those are just people putting that, kind of random price on their home. It's not specifically targeted. And that was behavior of the pandemic market too, where we could just throw any old price on the home and the buyers would rush in and throw multiple bids at it. Right now, what we need to do is actually be a lot more strategic at picking our asking price so that our home is priced perfectly and the buyers who come see it say, that's a deal, I'm going to buy that one. I'll say very quickly, just want to talk about the short, medium, and long-term real estate cycles. Right? What we have is these different factors. Obviously, there's local and regional cycles as well. What we see happening in the short-term cycle is the market's trying really hard to recover from the pressure being put on it by the interest rate increases. We had a wild and crazy couple of years that made the market race out of control. The government's cranked the interest rates up, making it hard for people to renew their mortgages, hard to qualify for new mortgages, but that certainly hasn't killed the dream of home ownership. And Brantford is still a very affordable community as far as the greater Golden Horseshoe goes. So we still see a lot of behavior of people coming in from closer to the center of the GTA and moving out this way and finding our town very affordable. So all that's kind of mixed up to keep the market healthy right now. In the medium term, we're kind of on this tail end of an exhausted wild ride. The whole world got locked down. We didn't know what was going on. Then the interest rates got flattened to zero. The market took off like crazy for 2 years. It felt like you couldn't, buy a house fast enough, and everyone who bought it was immediately making money. And then wham, the brakes got hit, and a lot of those gains got erased. Now we're kind of floated back up to the area we were before that final little peak. So mostly where we were sitting at in the bulk of the 2021 year is where prices have kind of settled in again right now, and we are still feeling that upward pressure. On the long-term cycle, what we have to realize is that Brantford is a growth center, and there's definitely not enough new homes being built or new condos being built for the number of people that want to move here. So we still do see a lot of pressure on the supply-demand side that's causing our market to stay healthy and strong. We know that if we move forward, we're going to be looking at the interest rates for the rest of the year. They're the biggest thing affecting our immediate, buyer and seller activity. Right now, all the economists are betting that we're done. We'll see, right? That this is the highest that interest rates are going to go for now, and that potentially interest rates will start going down. We don't know the timing behind that, but I know what'll happen is the moment interest rates do start going down, especially the 5-year fixed rates, it's immediately going to increase what people qualify for, and that's going to put pressure right back there onto the home prices. So very quickly before we wrap up today, I want to talk a little bit about the opportunities and the challenges in our market. Let's start first with a couple challenges, because I want to acknowledge them because they're real. The rapid rise in the interest rates and with no relief on the qualification criteria on the mortgage side has made it really hard for people to be able to afford the house they want. Prices haven't fallen as much as the interest rates have gone up. So actually the same house today is even costing a little bit more than it was at the peak in terms of a monthly payment. And this also means when you go into the bank and take all your financial statements, you might be in for a little bit of a shock on what they're going to pre-approve or qualify you for. So it's really important to get that step out of the way first and be creative with your financial professionals. Make sure all your stuff's in order so that you can, know exactly what it is that you're going to qualify for. The other challenges in the market is that you may be sitting already in a home with a locked-in nice low rate, and you may be worried, okay, if I break this rate, then I'm going to have to go buy my next house at a higher rate. And that may be true, and that may mean that the situation doesn't really work for you. But you might also want to talk to your banking professional about the ability to port your mortgage. And that means hang on to the mortgage you have and just move it from one property to another. Again, creative solutions are needed if you want to move in this market and want to make it work for you. A couple opportunities I want to talk about. Opportunity number one, this is it's the second or third time I've seen this happen in my career here in Brantford. I think there's a massive opportunity, if you can afford it, if it makes sense to you, to move up to your forever home right now. When I showed you that chart of how active that mid price range is from that 5 to 800, so if you own a home in that price range, you'll be able to sell it for a premium price right now because it'll most likely get a bidding war. But then you're going to move up to that 900, a million, $1.2 million house that you've always dreamed of. And that house you're going to be able to buy in a buyer's market and be very aggressive and favorable on your negotiations. So this is great. That wasn't happening during the pandemic market. All the high-end houses were selling, for premium prices too. So this could be a big opportunity for you. And I still do believe it's a great opportunity for first-time home buyers. Again, if you can qualify, if you can get your mortgage lined up to get into that house. But we have seen the prices come back from the peak and they are nudging up again. So this may be your window to get into property ownership now and through the next cycle, ride that wave up. Okay, the keys to success in this market. I really want to say that, in the last couple of years, the pandemic market, it didn't really take a lot of effort to get a home sold. There was so much demand and so little supply that basically we had to take some pictures of it, throw a coming soon sign on the yard for a week, toss it on the market at an artificially low price, and then set a bidding war date. And the buyers were lining up with unconditional offers. Well, that was really a short-term thing. It was going on for, 18 to 20 months. For the majority of my 15-year career, selling a house took a lot of work and a lot of preparation. So that's the key to success now, is to wipe that pandemic market out of your mind and realize that we've got to take it seriously. You've got a very valuable asset in a competitive market, and if you do it right, you're going to win. But if you take kind of a lackadaisical or a kind of an easy approach to it, you may find yourself one of those rising blue dots on the chart that tried and got it wrong, and now we're sitting a couple months on market and wondering what's going to happen. On the buy side, similar advice. The key to success is having someone who knows exactly what they're doing, because you've got these two different markets going on, where if you're going to be hopping in and trying to compete with these fresh new listings, you got to have all your ducks in order. You got to know how to fulfill your conditions quickly, or be able to avoid even putting them in your offer in the first place. And you also have to be able to know, if we're going to go deal hunting, we're going to go look for some of these more stale listings, you want a realtor that's going to be able to dig and find information and find where the deals really are. Now, all of this information, 20 minutes, if you stuck with me, thank you. I hope it was valuable to you. This is just a slice of what I create every week for our sales team here. And I want to emphasize that inside of a town, even the size of Brantford, there's different pockets of the market, different home styles, different price points, and of course your situation is going to be super unique. So what I do for my clients is I package up a very personalized market report along with everything that's going on in your neighborhood to help you understand what's going on. I'm a real person, and if you're looking for advice on your next move, I would love to talk to you. So all my contact information is below. Reach out to me or anyone on our sales team, and we'd love to help you. Hope you found this information useful, and I will catch you on the next video.